Hello there. My name is Mark, aka the Canardian, and this is episode 74 of the Holocron Chronicles. I'm joined, as always, maybe not as always because you weren't here last week, but I'm happy to be rejoined by my trusty co-pilot, Charlie Carden. Charlie.
No, I was in a faraway place called Texas. No, it was for work. Had a week-long training down there. Texas. Yeah, what was it from the? That was Carl Urban's character.
Thor Ragnarok. I'm glad you got that reference. I can't
believe
a place
called Texas. Texas. Yes, it was just. It was weird because instead of being like, oh man, it's so hot in the desert, it rained. We got caught we had to run an errand one night, caught in a downpour that would have washed you out to the Gulf of Mexico. It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was really nuts. But no, it's good to be back and to be in my jam, creating content, and in this case, talking about some Star Wars. Yeah.
Very excited to have you back. And we are joined by another special guest, a first-timer on the podcast. First time podcasting, I believe. This is Eric. You may know him as the Dadalorian. You're on everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You're one of the few people I know that's still doing like Facebook and stuff. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. We're going to learn a little bit more about you and your channel. But first off, we have to start the show by thanking all of our Patreon supporters. If you want a 7-day free trial, you can head over to patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, sign up for a 7-day trial, see what it's all about. And we're going to have a special drop. When this episode drops, our Patreon supporters are going to get first crack at an interview with Timothy Zahn that I did last weekend. So we have a draw coming up at the end for something related to that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Charlie, do you want to go through and thank our Patreon supporters?
It would be my pleasure. Our top tier Patreons, those folks that do give us the opportunity to make all this fun extra content that you will hear over there at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. On the Friends with Benefits level is Corey NHG, Mr. John Sedorf, the delightful Phoenix Sisters cosplay, and Mr. Brendan Myers. Our top tier are the BFFs. That would be the fantastic Nias family of Minnesota, Sean, Stella, and Henry. My friend Missy Merchant and Andy Milliken. One more time, please do feel free to visit patreon.com/secretfriendsunite for a free 7-day trial of all of our fun programs. And if you like what you hear, stick around. We would love to have you.
Absolutely. There's going to be, I'm still working on another interview with Sam Maggs. We spoke at the con that I went to. She wrote Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars, which bridged the gap between Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Amazing book. I talked to her, but so the con and the reason the Timothy Zahn interview is not going video. So anyone that's going to be watching it before or after this, or listening to it before or after this, the con was setting up like 15-minute interview segments, and that's like introductions, set up your mic, ask the questions you want to, and then you're out. So Timothy's on. We went about 15 minutes, so he kind of broke the rules, but he just wanted to keep talking, so I let him.
It's the best way. Let them lead the charge.
When I talked to Sam, she was like, "It's kind of restrictive. I want to talk," and so we've been talking a little bit behind the scenes and stuff, and I think we're going to get something hopefully on the go pretty soon. We'll let it, but
how exciting.
But if you like the Timothy Zahn interview, hopefully there'll be something else for you to stick around and keep subscribing to Patreon and throw $1 our way. So that would be great. Thank you very much to all the supporters. Yes. Don't forget to go like and subscribe on YouTube as well. It always helps, grow more people over there. And with all of that said and all of that out of the way, I want to learn a little bit more about our guest. Eric, tell us a bit about your content, what you do, and all about your channel.
Yeah, so I run several pages just like titled The Dadalorian. And really like what I do with these pages is I try to do a lot of parent stuff with Star Wars. I'm the product of like the in between Star Wars generations. You know, I was, you know, I'm in my mid 30s, so you know, like I missed the initial trilogy, but you know, I still remember, you know, going to the Return of the Jedi when it came out in theaters and was re-released back in the 90s. And that was like my introduction into Star Wars when my uncle took me to see that, and I fell in love with it from there. Um, Going through the years, you know, I just stayed in love with it and everything, and you know, it's really been something I'm really passionate about. And my previous job before this, I did a lot with like marketing on Instagram and stuff like that. And I like the social media aspect. You know, I love interacting with people. I love making people laugh, and I really wanted to continue that on really with something that I enjoyed. So I decided to really mix just the social media with the Star Wars aspect, as well as my love with like collecting Star Wars, because that's, as you can see behind me, I'm quite the avid collector as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it started. You know, I wanted to do stuff that was, you know, funny for people to get a good laugh. Cause honestly, like, you know, nowadays I think everybody could really use a good laugh. I want to do stuff that's inspirational. I post lots of stuff about, you know, like staying in shape and working out, cause like I like people to stay inspired to better themselves and everything. And then really just, you know, just some fun time content, you know, like, you know, just cracking jokes and having fun. Especially towards the parent side of it, you know, like getting my kids involved, you know, whacking each other with lightsabers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
they usually beat the crap out of me.
the Dadalorian dad jokes always a big hit for me.
Top shelf.
And
Nice.
then yeah,
That was a recent
anytime,
thing actually. That I
yeah,
just started that recently, and I was like, I like where this is going actually.
yeah, that's something you gotta. I want you to keep up with, because I'm very much enjoying them. That's
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah, awesome. How'd you come up with the name Dadalorian? Just a big Mando fan, or what?
Yeah, so
Made you settle on
really,
that
so
one?
like I never, so like I kind of had like a little bit of a hiatus in Star Wars, so to say. I think when Disney took over, and you know, like really not as much content was being made, you know, back in like the early 2010s, I guess you can say, era. I just kind of fell off because it really wasn't as much going on with it at that time. But then when it picked up and I watched The Mandalorian, it was really that right there became, I think, one of my favorite Star Wars. Like season one of The Mandalorian still ranks as one of my favorites because it really reignited my love for the series, honestly. And then Mando, I particularly love just because, you know, it's, you know, Mando and his kid, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
Dadalorian, you know, like I like, you know, I think about that, and you know, like how he's always protecting his kid, and I think as, you know, fathers, that's something that we really strive to always make sure we're protecting our kids. So it's something
Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
related with. And then I just one day I was trying to think of a name for my page and everything like that, and I was just like, dad, you know, Mandalorian, dad, wait, Dadalorian, okay, that sounds pretty good actually.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
pretty. I like it, and you could have gone like Man Dadalorian, but I think Dadalorian's just kind of flows a lot better.
It just comes off the
But
tongue nicer, honestly.
it does, yeah, yeah, it does. And I had a very similar experience watching Mandalorian. Like I have you know, 3.5-year-old, so Mando kind of came out at a perfect time for
Yep.
you know, I think first like finding out we were pregnant right before it dropped kind of thing, and then season two. Um, you know, like I was watching it with Finn in my arms kind of thing, and
Hmm.
watching him kind of like hand him over to Luke, and I was just like, no one's getting my baby, like
Oh
not a
yeah.
chance. Like, you know, it was
I
just like
Right.
that whole kind of step of like watching this guy become a dad, and I was like doing the
Yeah.
same thing here with you know, with Finn. So yeah, it really dropped at a great time for that dad inspirational Star Wars kind of thing. So I love the name.
Yeah, no, it really was the same thing for me. My daughter is really about the same age. She was born right before COVID, so you know, and you know, I basically binge watched Mandalorian the whole time through COVID. So
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
excellent. Uh, So how you said your uncle took you to Return of the Jedi? Is that kind of how you got into Star Wars in the first place?
yeah, so my uncle really he kind of like got me into like a lot of the stuff that I'm passionate about, you know, like because I'm really big into Star Wars. He took me to go see Return of the Jedi when I was like, I think I was like 8 years old or something like that at the time. And that started my love for Star Wars. And then he took me to go see The Fellowship of the Ring when that came out, and it was the same thing. I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy as well, so like he really helped kind of get me into these things too. He's a big Marvel guy. Wolverine is his favorite character. So he's really kind of like molded me in some ways with this type of stuff.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah. My aunt got me into Star Wars. So I have like, your uncle seems to be like an amalgamation of a bunch of my different relatives. Cause like I have like the comic book uncle, right? Was like, he has like huge Batman fan and like has a bunch of comic books. So that was like that one. And like my aunt got me into Star Wars. It was like all of these different ones kind of came together. And then you just had like this one really, really kick-ass cool guy. So that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. No, it was great, man. He really took me out and really got me involved. I'm the oldest sibling of all of my my brothers and sisters, so it was a little bit like having my own older brother, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Love it.
What's your favorite movie or show, Star Wars wise?
Oh, see, that's a question that's always hard because honestly, I bounce around with it sometimes. I think if I gotta pick an overall, it's gonna be Revenge of the Sith, but for me, I think the Return of the Jedi is a very, very close, almost tie for that one for me, though.
Yeah, it's seminal, that first film, with me.
It is.
I saw Empire when I was 4 years old in 1980 in the summertime with my dad and my brother, and don't remember almost anything at all about being in the theater, but that is just it was cooked in at that age. So yeah, just can't shake it. Can't shake it. It's always going to be the favorite.
Yeah. I know for me, like one of the things, so for me, because I've been involved with music throughout my whole life, playing instruments and stuff too. Whenever I hear the soundtrack for the Luke and Vader fight, the Jedi's Fury song, like that brings in like some serious, like core memories from my childhood,
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Favorite character?
Ooh, see, this is another hard one. So, and probably one you don't hear too often, but I would say this is a very much tie between Boba Fett and ARC Trooper 5s.
Wow. Yeah,
okay.
I never really hear anybody jump with an animated character like that and a clone too.
Yeah, so really, so I grew up really with like Boba Fett being my favorite just because like dude's a badass. Let's just be real.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's like one of my brother's favorites, but like ARC 5s. Okay. Yeah.
So I loved the Clone Wars. Like if I had to pick a show that was my favorite, the Clone Wars was going to be it. And honestly, I just think the way the show goes, it goes from like really like almost like very kid type stuff. And it really goes into like, how actual like combat and military type stuff is. And these guys mold into these type units. And, 5s being one of the original guys, the Domino Squad guys, really kind of steps in and, leads these guys. And, the arc there where he discovers Order 66 and he has that he has the like the courage to speak out and he even if it's putting himself on the line like that right there sold me on it, like 100% one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
amazing.
For sure. Nice.
Yeah, you don't hear that often, huh?
No.
First time for the show.
Yeah.
74 episodes in, I thought we heard like every single thing. Like we've gone through every single different movie is someone's favorite, right? And like something we wouldn't, just like there's always someone that says something that catches us off guard, and that's one of them to remember for sure. That's
fair
enough. A different one. I like it.
Nice.
Now, if you had some force powers, which do you usually side with? Light side, dark side? How do you see yourself going?
See, this is I see myself as a very middle of the road. I think this is I think we all have the power for great good and great evil in us, I guess so to say. And really, like I think depending on what it is, you kind of just walk. For me personally, walking that middle line is really where I'm at, because it's always going to be what's in the best interest for my family. Because, like if me personally, that's my number one interest always is, just making sure my family is taken care of, my wife and kids.
Right. Yep. So. Very kind of Balin Skull kind of vibes I'm getting.
Oh, yes.
A little bit.
I think he's the closest to maybe Gray Jedi. And we've heard Gray Jedi a few times. And that's, I think some people consider that kind of like an easy-ish answer. And I think there's more nuance to it. But I really like that Baylan Skoll's given that kind of like, I'll do what I can for me. I'm not, I've seen the fallings of the Jedi, but I'm not going full Sith. Like that kind of like that is kind of a middle ground. We've kind of seen that like and we're going to be talking about the episode today where he says, like to Shin, like, I've trained you to be something more. You're
Right.
not a Jedi. You weren't trained as a Boken Jedi. You were trained as something more. So I think that's kind of like you have that middle ground now. I think you're the first person to be on the show since we've met him that's kind of said that, like, that's kind of your alignment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a, kind of an interesting stance on it, but I don't think any one person can say they're always going to be all light or all dark, honestly.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Now, are you going full Baylan Skoll and saying orange is your favorite lightsaber color, or do you have a different one?
No, aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
No,
yellow.
All right, so if I had to choose my favorite, that one is probably going to be the dark saber, honestly.
Ooh, all right.
That's the first.
So I think I like the way that it's a little bit different. So most of the lightsabers that you see in Star Wars, they have the a standard hilt, and it's just a the circular light that comes out. The dark saber actually produces a type of blade to itself almost, instead of just a light source type of thing. So I think it looks really cool the way that it has like almost like the lightning cracks going through the black with the white outer there.
Yeah. I talked to, at the same con that I met Timothy's on, I met there was a saber company there, and I talked to them about, I was doing the full like Jedi pirate cosplay thing, and I really want, there's a lightsaber hilt that you can get that has like a cross, like a guard on it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so I want to get that with a flat blade as well, make it really look like a pirate cutlass. And they were like, yeah, we don't have anything like that here, but like, yeah, send me a message. So I still have to send that message and see like how much this thing's going to run me. But I have this like idea in my head that I want to at least check out.
That's awesome.
Favorite. Now this is going to be a big one, just really geared specifically to you. And this might cause your brain to short circuit with how big your collection is. But do you have a favorite collectible or item or something in your collection that just is like, if I had to sell everything else, this is the one I'm keeping?
See, that is a really hard one, to tell you the truth, because I like looking around here. This is just one wall right here, and this is just some of my collectibles here.
That's the selection of all of his kills up there, by the way.
Yeah,
obviously. Look at that. Yes.
So
hopefully all the heads aren't still in them.
Yes. So honestly, it's hard to say, but I think if I really did have to pick one action figure or collectible or anything like that, it would probably be it's probably a little bit hard to see, but it's right here.
Oh,
so that's it's a little bit hard to see, but it's the 2005 Darth Vader Master Replica lightsaber. So this was really before the age of like neopixels and stuff like this, because this thing's back from 2005. So the hilt on this thing is beautifully done with wires and everything. So honestly, that's probably one of my favorite piece, if not within those top like 1 to 2.
Wow.
Nice.
Excellent.
I love, like, anytime you post anything about your collection, it's just like, damn, that is.
I gotta do it. I haven't done it in a little while. I did the one while I was sick over the last week, like my top 3 Black Series and vintage collection, which my vintage collection is probably like my second favorite. That Old Republic Trooper is definitely also up there.
Nice.
Very nice. What's your favorite affiliation? Is that like, and this is anything. Are you going with the troopers? Are you going Rebels, Jedi, Bounty Hunters, Sith, Space Pirates, Wookiees? Who are you hanging out with?
So if I had to pick a crew to hang out with, I think it would be, I would say probably Mandalorians really would be what it is. So namely for a couple of reasons. I think one, the culture behind it is it's a very look after our own tribal. So like no matter, even if like, and you see it in the Mandalorian show, especially in the last season with Din and Paz, where even if you don't agree with each other, when you're like part of that culture and tribe together, like you'll have each other's backs no matter what it is, even if you're beefing with each other. And then I just think it's a really cool nod in Star Wars culture to like how like tribes like that we see in our own societies and stuff really were like how they are like that. So
Nice.
Excellent.
Awesome. I so far have not been able to figure out your pattern. Based on, like your favorite. I mean, I guess Boba Fett's kind of in the Mandalorian, but I was really, I thought I had you pegged. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, hanging with the troopers, and then you like throw that at me. So I'm, like, I'm loving this. I'm thinking you're going to zig, you zag. It's great.
I'm a little bit all over with it, but yeah, it is just the Mandalorian culture, and like if I had to choose who to roll with, I think that is going to be my, like the people I would really go with, just given like who your best survivability is with, and how they look out for each other, honestly.
Yeah,
nice. Clone Troopers is probably like a very close second though.
That tracks. I like that.
For the Republic.
Final one. This is one of my favorites. If you were in Star Wars, what hilarious way would you die?
So deep down, most of me really wants to say, you know what, when I go out, it's going to be some badass thing where I'm just like charging Darth Vader with iron pipe or something like that. But realistically, it's probably going to be my starship runs out of gas and I freaking get like left in the middle of space or something like that.
Oh boy, ouch!
Just floating, just Tony Stark style. Like,
I was thinking that, or the gas station from Spaceballs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know if they got. I don't know they got Space AAA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have the space special. Like there you go.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's our first run out of gas too. So that's most people poke something like they should, like like the animal you shouldn't poke or something. But it's like first one, just like I forgot to fuel up, man. Sorry.
Listen, man, I live in Florida. All right, you don't go poking animals around here.
Yeah. Oh, there's that gator in your toilet. Absolutely not.
No.
Sure.
Listen, we live in Florida. It's like a little bit like Australia, where you flush the toilet before you go, just to make sure there's like nothing up in the rim. Before you go walk out back, you make sure you look around, make sure there's no gators or bears or nothing else. So yeah.
Oh my God! Holy cow! That sounds very much like Australia. Holy cow!
It's a little bit like it, man. No lie.
Oh my gosh, it's wild.
Crazy. Have you ever had like close encounter? I want to like pause for a second. Like, what's like the closest you've come to like?
Oh, I mean, I got bears all over the place over here. So I work third shift. So like I typically go running right about this time at night, right around like 8:30. And honestly, it's a little bit worrisome because like we have these big black bears in Florida that live around the area that I live in, and like I look at it as a little bit like motivation. If I start getting chased, I better start running faster.
Yeah, right.
So yeah. Most people listen to like fast songs, and you're just like, hey, there's a bear chasing me. It's
okay. I guess. They put on a little "Welcome to the Jungle." There you go.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, it'd be like that. So, and yeah, it's I haven't really had too many like close encounters with it, but it's Florida. I got bears all around where I live. The part of Florida I live in, it's up on the Panhandle, so there's really not as really much in the danger for like alligators and stuff like that. But plenty of like saltwater wildlife, sharks, stingrays, the whole spiel. I live up by Destin, so we get sharks and that stuff all the time.
Oh man, yikes.
Yeah, sharks around here are becoming way more plentiful, or maybe they always were and now they're just like tagging them and stuff. But like there was a shark like in the beach that I swim in. Like I'd been there a couple, and this one was like sick and confused. It ended up beaching itself a few hours after, like, but I saw a video, and like my cottage is like right in the video in the back, and I'm just like, shoot.
Yeah, when I used to live up in New England, we were getting them. They were starting to come up there with frequency and stuff. So it was not quite like as much as it is down here, because we get we get bulls, tigers, all the really gnarly ones.
Wow. Yowza!
Find yourself a nice what's a lemon shark? What's the ones that they like attach themselves to humans? They get really
I think nurse
protective
sharks,
against humans.
That's what we love about the Midwest. We have the unsalted, shark-free waters of the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
We're
There you
very,
go.
very happy about
That
it.
works.
I'll tell you what, though, it's way too cold up there for me, man. My in-laws live in just north of Chicago, and it is just too damn cold up there for me.
Well, that's the windy part. No, it gets cold here. It gets really cold where our partner Todd lives, further west in Minnesota. It's not so much the snow, but it's the cold. But anyway, we're going full weather and wildlife talk, so
Yep.
we got to swing it back.
We'll bring it back. Bring it back.
So it was. I'm super glad we got to know you a little bit more. That was, like I said, every time I thought you were gonna zig, you zagged. That was super interesting. I hope people follow
you on your
along
toes,
your
man.
channel to
Good,
keep learning more. We're gonna remind people of your channel and of something else coming up at the end of the show. We're gonna be doing our draw
Something
for
special.
this. This is a signed Thrawn art card signed by Timothy Zahn. And
Can I answer?
We know the winner.
No inside job. We don't want that rep
back there. It's been hanging out with my Darth Vader helmet and my Darth Vader holding a megalodon tooth behind me. And I was like, that looks like such a good part of my display. Why didn't I get two of them? I got him to sign my copy of Heir to the Empire, but I was like, I want this. I want to keep this. Can I give something else away? And my wife was just like, just stop. Just give it away. Send the card to someone.
Just stop.
So we're gonna send that. We're gonna talk about that. So you have to wait until the end of the show, and we'll announce the winner. For right now, we are going to jump straight in to our topic, and that is Ahsoka episodes 6 and 7. Charlie, you want to give us our recap?
I'm going to fulfill my destiny. All right. Part 6 is called Far, Far Away, directed by Jennifer Getzinger. Dave Filoni did the writing, or maybe I have that backwards. I can never tell.
Nope.
From September of this year, the Eye of Sion arrives on Peridia, the ancient homeworld of Elsbeth's people, those delightful Dathmiri. Elsbeth, Skoll, Billie Eilish, and Ren meet the Great Mothers, a group of Night Sisters allied with Thrawn. As they wait for the Grand Admiral, never keep the ladies waiting, Skoll relates to Billie Eilish his belief that the fall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire were part of an inevitable cycle, one he intends to break. Is this like kind of Matrix-y, do you think? Wasn't that the whole thing with the Matrix? I don't know. Yeah. Thrawn arrives aboard his Star Destroyer, which is looking a little like the Gremlin from Wayne's World. The Chimera and honors Skoll by promising Skoll's promise by providing Ren with provisions, a mount, and Bridger's whereabouts. After Ren leaves, Thrawn orders Skoll and Billie Eilish to follow her so they can kill both her and Bridger. Surviving an ambush by bandits, Ren encounters the native Nodi and follows them to their village, where she finally reunites with Bridger. While tracking Ren, Skoll senses that there is a greater power on Peridia and tells Billie Eilish that he intends to find and use it. As the Great Mothers sense Ahsoka's imminent arrival, Thrawn demands all details of her history from Elsbeth and prepares his defenses. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun. Dun dun dun. Now, is our tradition to read both parts and then we give it the big breakdown?
We might as well double up, I guess, and kind of talk about both of these. They kind of flow together, right?
It's a good flow. It's a good flow. All right. Well, then part 7 is Dreams and Madness. Geeta Vasant Patel is directing, Dave Filoni writing, obviously, from September of this year. On Coruscant, Syndulla faces a disciplinary hearing. She's in the principal's office. They got the big ruler out. They're going to give her a smack, with tribunal member Senator Johnny McDickstain objecting to her reports of, I just ripped that one on the rag, to reports of the secret Imperial Remnant conspiracy. C-3PO arrives in an obvious crowd-pleasing cameo and provides the tribunal with a fake authorization by Senator Leia Organa, miss not appearing in this film, forcing the court to absolve Syndulla and Mothma to consider the threat of an Imperial resurgence. Arriving at Peridia, the Purgils run into a minefield left by Thrawn's forces and retreat. Whoops, there goes my ride. Continuing alone, Ahsoka and the David Tennant robot are attacked by enemy fighters and hide in the debris field, stealing that bit from from Obi-Wan. Ellsworth informs Thrawn that Ahsoka was trained by Anakin, compelling the Grand Admiral to adopt a more calculated approach. Ahsoka locates Ren through the Force and heads to the planet's surface. Bridget, Ren, and the Noti are attacked by Billie Eilish and the local bandits and Thrawn's night troopers, while Skoll leaves to pursue his own agenda. Ahsoka's intervention forces Thrawn to withdraw his remaining night troopers and prepare for his imminent departure. Ahsoka invites Billie Eilish, who has been left behind, to join them, but she flees anyway. She sucks. Ahsoka then reunites with Ren and Bridger, and everybody's having happy time all over the place, even though they didn't tell Ezra that there's no way to get home. Whoops.
They're still figuring that out. They're
still figuring that out. Still figuring it out. We try to, even though it's already gone by, we try to keep it like, hey, we just saw this. So we can speculate, but we're not going to jump forward and talk about the finale.
That's it. So let's start off, Eric. What was your initial reaction to these 2 episodes?
I mean, honestly, I thought they were some of the best episodes of the series so far. Episode 6, I thought the visuals with the Purgle and the hyperspace travel, I thought was just beautiful. Like, we haven't seen hyperspace travel like that, and I just thought the visuals behind that were stunning, in my opinion. And then, honestly, I thought it was just really cool just seeing some of the stuff in there, like I think Claudia Black playing the Night Mother. I didn't know it was her until I actually had read the what do you call it at the end there, the credits, and I was just because I remember watching her, in I think it was like Farscape, Stargate, and everything, and she killed it as the Night Mother and everything. And I think this is where we kind of start seeing, where we're talking about the great power call in the Balin, where we don't know what it is yet, and this episode kind of like led me believing it was Khajiit from Fallen Order, because in the episode you see the writing on the Night Mother's temple, and it's in Zepho, and somebody had gone through and actually like translated it after the episode, and it reads glory to Khajiit, ruler of all, may his reign be everlasting, or something like that. And that's where it kind of like leads into like, oh man, this could be the power. Now, is it? Who the hell knows?
Yeah, right.
But
that's kind of like the same kind of thing, is like, what is that power, right? Like, is it something from the Zepho? Is it something from for me, when I was watching that, it was like either this is like Zepho was in the Mortis gods was another thought, or even just like, were they setting up was it James Mangold's movie about like the starting, like the first Jedi, the person or the people that discover how to use the Force? Is this, because it hasn't really, we haven't learned too much else. It was like the 10 Command, or it's like a religious movie kind of set in the Star Wars universe. So it could be in this galaxy. It could be even on this planet, 25,000 years ago or something like that, or whatever. Like, so it, I'm wondering what kind of seeds they plant, but we haven't really gotten those answers. But I love that little, video game insert that it's just like, I recognize that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, all right, is this just going to be like a little nod to the game, or is it actually going to delve into something more? So it's one of those things, just like, we're going to, need to wait for season 2, which I heard, I think it was green lighted. So let's keep fingers crossed.
I heard that too.
Awesome.
But I thought it was pretty cool with episode 6 too, with the people that Ezra was with, the Noti, because they had like a very Hobbit vibe to them. And I'm kind of wondering if that's where they like kind of got the idea for this, because, it was a very peaceful people and everything like that. And he's living with them. So overall, I thought episode 6 was just knocked out of the park. Absolutely amazing. And the actor for Ezra, top tier, like played perfect.
that was a nail it. And then again, to see him, he looks like he's put on 10 years with his long flowy hair and his big beard. Obviously, they CGI'd him up quite a bit to have his little flashback hologram that we saw earlier in the series. But even that really looks spot on. So yeah, it's it's a challenge without a doubt, I'm sure, to transition an animated character, which they've done with Ahsoka. Twice just within the series in the context of the last episode with her little ethereal flashbacks that she's having when she's played by like the new Hey, I'm Everybody, what's her name, Ariana Greenblatt, who's she was in Barbie, she was in this, she was Gamora in Endgame in Infinity War as a child. But yeah, you're right. I think as far as the casting of any of these characters, I think that they really nailed it the most spot on with them.
It's I think when they get into that fight, especially with the night troopers, and he's just like, and he stops them. Wait, you want to take us prisoners, right? And they're like, open fire. He's like, oh crap, all right.
Yeah, right. I love it. Yeah, you love his Jedi hustle. He's like, I've got the Force now, and he's all, everybody was kung fu fighting, push, 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 push. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
The mannerisms and stuff, like you can tell he's a fan.
Yeah,
you can tell that the actor is like, I've got to nail this. I've got to nail these little quirks and just like that Ezra-ness. That it's not only does he look the part, but like he just feels right. Like it's it's the most spot on, I think, for any kind of character. And like I know I personally I was very, very worried with Ezra being with Thrawn. And even like talking to Timothy Zahn, like he thought that the way they were going to do it, or the way he would have done it, is have this like team up buddy kind of thing, like he and Thrawn having to team up to survive, basically, and like being these like wary allies kind of thing. And you'll hear about that in the interview later if you want to listen to that. But like, I was very worried that Thrawn would kind of start to seep in, start to turn him, and to see Ezra acting like Ezra, not losing any of that like joyful optimism and positivity and just like sarcasm and everything else. It was so good, and he nailed it so much.
Yeah.
I thought that was the same way too. I thought it was going to go that way myself.
His performance was without a doubt, I think, really what reigned the rest of this season. I mean, we get some really well cut out action in both episodes, and it's going to lead us kind of to bigger heights as we get closer to the end here. But and when we talked about when this was on originally, and Naksha and I were talking about over on our main show, we kind of quipped that, hey, this show is either so good that it can have an episode where Ahsoka's not in it, like they did with Boba Fett, which was not the case with it being so good, but this show held up on the strength of its ensemble cast, where in my opinion, at the Book of Boba Fett, they jammed Mando in there because, hey, people like Baby Yoda, right? Oh, that'll work. But it's not what they did here. They said, hey, this is Rebels, season 5. We have the strong group of characters. Everybody's really well developed. So the show doesn't have to be Ahsoka, and it's not like Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie, and like, hey, whenever Ahsoka's not in the frame, people have to say, where's Ahsoka? It's not it doesn't have to be like that. It can be about the ensemble, and I think that was the biggest strength in particular in these two segments.
Absolutely.
And I think they did great where that one episode where she wasn't really even in it all that much, except for like 5 minutes of her own show, it was still a great episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly correct.
Speaking of those 5 minutes, I have to address a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, it was a little too on the nose.
A little too on the nose. Okay. I interpret it. I want to know how you guys interpret this, because I now interpret every single Star Wars movie and show as Huyang telling stories maybe hundreds or thousands of years into the future. Like he mentioned in this episode that he's telling what does he call it, Tales or History of the Galaxy part 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my goodness.
So everything else now is just seen through his eyes, and
This
that's
is
such
this
a
is
great way.
this is Mark with his red thread
My own little,
jersey board here.
my own little
He's like
headcanon
he's
now
Charlie,
is like
Charlie Day. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
any
It's, you know what? It's
inconsistency,
making sense though. It is making sense.
right?
Well,
Any
in
inconsistencies, any like canon.
in
Oh, this was canon
yeah,
here, but it's not canon there. It's Hu
you
Yang
know,
just being
over
a
in
goon,
yeah,
throwing some
over in
stickers.
Marvel, it was the same thing with Captain America. Had comics of Captain America that was with the GIs right in the trenches, and in the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, early in the Stanley Kirby run in the '60s, they licensed themselves to be in comics, and they used that as a gag. That here's Stanley. Here's they had a side story in the back of one of the annuals that the Thing goes into the Marvel Comics offices to yell at Stan Lee and Jack Kirby because he doesn't like how the comics been being produced. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, a
Fantastic.
little fourth wall breaking.
That is now how I read the opening crawl. I did a video on that, like a TikTok video or whatever, just like, do you want to go rewatch all the Star Wars movies and read that opening crawl in Hu Yang's voice? Like,
Oh my
yep.
gosh, yeah,
Yeah,
That's like that's how I watch it now.
I thought it was a great insert, and even if it means nothing, I thought it was a great insert.
right. Yeah, I mean the best inserts can really hold up. Under that kind of scrutiny, can just be like, that made us smile. That was good. That was okay. Like, Baby Yoda and his cup of soup.
Yep.
watching Mando and Cara Dune go at it. Just bloop, that's none of my business.
Any like favorite scenes for you guys? Anything that really stood out? I know we had mentioned like the fight scene with Ezra's
Yeah.
introduction and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely in episode 7, seeing Ahsoka go toe to toe with Skull was pretty great. It was great to see how the combo of our three amigos kind of shut Billie Eilish down. She was just like, oh, then she runs away. She's like, oh, she was like, Shaggy and Scooby Doo. You could see her feet spinning, pew, to run off.
For me, it was a Parks and Recreation moment when Leslie and Ben are arguing, and Ben's just like, "Yes, but," and then just turns around and runs.
That's exactly the vibe it gave.
Like that was
Right.
very much there. Those are the same scene. It's just like,
right.
sure, I'll join you. No, I
Yeah,
won't.
right.
And it's just, but it's not she disappears in like ninja dust or anything.
Yeah.
She's just literally running, and
Yeah.
it's like,
No,
okay.
and I agree.
just-
The fight scene was top notch, and honestly, I think that was definitely a favorite. I had like kind of like one I thought like that was also gonna like kind of a favorite of mine. That's probably interesting. Was a scene where actually like it's the right after the post they have the hearing with General Syndulla and Mon Mothma where you really see just how terrified Mon Mothma is of Thrawn's return, and it kind of like gives the gravity of it. Because like I think it just adds weight to his return, honestly.
Right. Right.
It also shows how easily the New Republic falls because you have those incredibly incompetent
bureaucrats.
What'd you call them?
I don't. Maybe
whatever you called them earlier.
I'm going to go with Mayor McDickcheese as my choice. Mayor McDickcheese.
Sure, yeah, call them what you want to call them, but like that right there is like the fall of the New Republic. That's how the First Order came up.
I mean, and it scales us all the way back to Rogue One and the group of senators around the table there on Yavin saying, well, I'm not even really sure that this is a thing. What if she's making it up? It's like, why is there always got to be that guy or that girl? Because in that scene, it was, well, I don't really think it's worth it and blah, 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 this thing and that thing. It's like, what do you get the fuck out of here? We don't need, nobody needs your negativity. We want to go kill some people. And I think you should just let us do it.
Somebody just needs to throw the rock in there. Nobody asked you what you thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Just throw the rock in everything. That'd be the rock in Star Wars. That is something I didn't know that I needed until right now.
Oh my goodness. Well, he's already managed to cachet his way out of Warner Brothers, so he's probably looking for a job. He destroyed DC. We don't. Maybe Star Wars could be his redemption. You don't know.
That's it. Any other scene I loved? I got to go back to the fight scene for a second because just like, not only do we get like the best little introduction of Ezra, the end of episode 6, and then we got more of his personality, and we saw that like jokey kind of thing. But once the action started, and I loved that exchange of like, no, you keep the lightsaber. The Force is my
Yeah.
ally. And like, I thought he was joking
That was
around at
great.
first. I
Right.
thought he was going to grab the lightsaber. No, I'm just joking. Give me a weapon. Are you kidding me? But then
Yeah.
like he went at it and kicked
He
ass.
he's zen.
For me, as zen as he was, as focused and balanced in the Force as he was, it was really giving off for me some Maul in a hallway vibes. And Maul really wanted Ezra as his apprentice, and it was
Right.
like, oh, maybe Maul kind of like rubbed off a little bit more, because like
Yeah.
we've seen people take out, you know, waves of stormtroopers or whatever with lightsabers. Like, we've seen, you know, Jedi outnumbered and be able to kind of come. Very seldom have we seen an unarmed Jedi just wiping people down, or
Right.
unarmed Force user just mowing people down. And like Maul's one of the few, and
Right.
just used a hallway against people. And like Ezra's just like, okay, cool, yeah, come at me, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
What you
that
got?
yeah, it was
Come on,
great.
that's
But
the way
for
I
me,
like
like,
it.
yeah, I was
fact
like,
how
oh,
he,
he's such a great Jedi.
How he stopped what's her name's Billie Eilish's
Shins,
lightsaber and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he did the Kylo Ren.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, and it was such force that you see the blade kind of flicker too. Oh crap, I love that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever seen a visual of that in Star Wars, except for the trailer that they had for that the Old Republic game. That was the only time we've ever seen that, I think.
We saw I think in the Rise of Skywalker.
Was it in there?
There was
Okay.
I think
Oh, that's
Rey
right.
versus Kylo
Yeah,
on
I think you
the,
could be right, actually.
ocean thingy. I think one of them stopped a blade, but I don't think it was visually as impressive as it was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we really saw
Yeah.
the Force
I remember it now.
and the saber that's in the same way. Like, I think it was kind of
Yeah.
like they stopped each other, but
Yeah.
it was just kind of like a passing gag. Like, this was like, oh shit, he is exerting some force with the Force. Like, that
Yeah.
was that it really, really exemplified it in a way that we definitely haven't seen it
The Force
quite done that way before.
for your
It was
Force.
super impressive.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Um,
Good stuff.
Any
Good
other
stuff.
scenes for you guys standing out?
I mean, you have. It was nice to see some Star Wars when she arrived there and flew out, and you know, we get a lot of too few of that because it's a lot of like, you know, we're hanging out on the ground wars, but you know, everything can't be in all space all the time, because on ships people wouldn't interact with each other. So, but no, it is cool to see. You know, the old flying through the minefield or the boneyard in this case, because that's what was up there. It's kind of grim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to give a shout out to Anakin's training holo. I didn't expect to see more Anakin.
Yeah.
I thought episode 5 was just like, here's all the Hayden Christensen you need. And to get him back in episode 7 was just like,
he's done so much more
holy crap
for that character in this show and then in Obi-Wan than he ever did in you know, now that it's kind of like being free of George gives those prequel characters more life, you know, gave more life to Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, I think, without a doubt, for the chance for him to soar. And any prequel character that we've seen has done better, I think, before. Oh my gosh, my computer off.
Thought that was me for a minute.
I did. We did something to anger my Echo Dot unit down here. Sorry about that.
That happened with Siri every once in a while here too.
Yeah, but
Eric,
yeah, no,
yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, no, that was it. I guess I lost my time.
No, I'm sorry. I thought your computer was finishing it for you.
I 100% agree with you though. Like I think over the last 2 years, the amount of depth we've gotten into these prequel characters, it's gorgeous. You know, even for all the flack that Obi-Wan catches, like what it did for Vader and Obi-Wan and you know Anakin, like it grew, like they grew as people in the show and like, you know, added so much more. And then this with how much it added to, you know, Ahsoka, Sabine, and then like, you know, how much you see with what Hayden Christensen did for Anakin in this, like top tier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we really got like a lighter, more thoughtful side of Anakin, like leaving 20 of these videos at least.
The softer side of Anakin. It's like Sears.
Yeah. The careful, like caring kind of planning side, but also kind of like a side that we saw, I think, in was it Tales of the Jedi?
Yep.
Yeah.
The animated shorts or whatever. And they kind of planted that seed there as well of like, did he know what was coming up? Did he know who he was going to become or what was going to happen? Because he really trained Ahsoka to survive all
Yeah.
of this, like
To survive him.
to
Yeah.
the point, including surviving him as Vader. Like
Right.
So I think when
he,
you look at it that way, it's he, surviving him as Vader. So he trained Ahsoka to survive Asajj, Grievous, and Count Dooku, and and Maul, and really that's like what he became. He became Grievous as the cyborg. He became Count Dooku as the apprentice. Like
mm,
that's what he was training her to really
Hmm.
battle against.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
in
spot
a
on.
way, even if it was unconscious, he was training her to, you know, kind of fight him in the future per se.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Good,
my.
good catch, Joe. Good, yeah. Because it's definitely like the Clone Wars, but I think live action gives it a little bit more punch.
Oh yeah.
That we're seeing
Yeah. Without a
more
doubt.
development. Um,
Without a doubt.
so we've gone all this time. We haven't really touched on Thrawn. Did he live up to the hype? We saw the planner of like the recalculation, finding out Ahsoka was trained by Anakin. He worked with Anakin. He worked with Vader. We've seen some stuff. I think he's one of the few people that pretty much he knows what's going on with Vader, Anakin, kind of
Yeah.
that connection. Most
Mhm.
of the galaxy doesn't. What did you guys think? Did he live up to the hype? Was Thrawn everything you wanted? Charlie, let's start with you on this one.
I don't know because I first of all said I'm like, wow, he looks a little scruffy. He looks a little chubby. But if you stop and think about it, I even think I saw this pointed out somewhere. Like his uniform, you can see there's a big old scratch in it. The neckline looks very frayed. I mean, here's a guy who's but still keeping up appearances, wearing that outfit. It's as clean as it possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm of a multitude of minds about it. I don't know if it lived up to the hype. But
Okay.
I don't know what would have made it different.
Right.
So, to Homer Simpson this. So to answer your question, I don't know. So somebody else can take a stab at
Okay.
it.
Fair answer. Eric?
Yeah. So I think it lived up to the hype 100%. And kind of looking at it from a couple of different ways. So, firstly, I'm a very audio person, and the song, the theme song for Thrawn that played as soon as he started making his march out was just absolutely top notch. Like
Yeah.
that orchestral, just very eerie vibe to it gave such a fantastic vibe to it. And then on top of it, when you kind of think about it too, like this is not the Thrawn that we saw in Rebels or in comics, because this, he has been stranded for 7 years now. He's not going to be the pristine, clean uniform.
Right.
Who the hell knows what they're eating on Peridia? So, it's not what I didn't expect him to be, like the super clean and pristine. He did look pretty good from what I saw. And honestly, I think his name, it's Lars Mikkelsen was the actor, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Lars Mikkelsen, his, like, the voice of that actor and how he portrays Thrawn, that right there sells it for me personally.
Yeah.
So I was very,
Very,
very pleased with it.
Fair.
very similar. Like looks whatever. And you can say like he aged up. He got, it happens. Your body gets old, or a little less workout regimen, whatever is going to happen. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, he was stranded. He was a little scruffier. He was a little like, but I love how they made it so you have to look close. The
Mhm.
first glimpse, you're like, no, he's still pretty pristine. Like you said, Charlie, he's keeping up appearances. But like you look a little closer and it's like, nah, maybe Thrawn's starting to crack. But
Mhm.
Eric, like you said, like that once he opens his mouth, once you hear him start to talk about being a step ahead, talk about recalculating, talk about acceptable losses, and have his plan where he's going to follow through, but he's going to do it his own way. He's going to do this and at the expense of this. And he's always working towards his own goals, whether that's for the Chiss Ascendancy, whether that's for the Empire, which, usually are two aligned kind of things. But like Thrawn's going to do what Thrawn's going to do because Thrawn wants to do it. And he's so good at it. And it's like, there's no one that encapsulates that better than that actor. So like just him opening his mouth and hearing that the same way you heard him in Rebels, that same calculated, just genius. And that was something else that I talked about with Timothy Zahn was like, this guy's like Star Wars Batman. Like you give him enough time and prep and he is going to take on anyone because that's just him. Like he is just
Star Wars Batman.
Higher, like he's working on that higher level than anyone else. So Eric, I agree. Like he's just like, I couldn't picture anyone else being in that role just because of how he sounded and how he just the presence that he had. It was so good.
It was. I think something that was particularly cool about it too is like really the only time I think in the series that you really hear him almost like the shudder in his voice or anything is when he finds out that Anakin was Ahsoka's master, because that's where he's like, oh,
because he didn't calculate that, huh, Mister? I always know the answers. Yeah. He's very good at calculations. That's that dude.
And he instantly asked, was the ship like, is it just, are you sure it's just one ship? Is he thinking that's Vader? Is he thinking it's Luke? Like, how much have the Night Sisters told him? Like, does he know that Vader's dead? Does he know that he had a son? Does he know?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, for me, it's all those things are running through my head of like, how much does he know? And he also alluded to the fact that like Jedi and Sith are really good at faking their deaths, really good at hiding, really good at coming back. Does he actually believe that Vader's dead? Like he might think this is a Vader Ahsoka combo. Vader's back in the light, and he is effed. He's like, okay, it's only one ship. I can deal with one ship. Yeah, I can deal with one of these things. I can't deal with two, but I can deal maybe with one. And so like that was like you said, the crack in his voice. It was just like, shit, he's going through the how screwed am I kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And that was it.
I know one of the
freaking perfect.
One of the theories about why he asked was two as well. And, one of the many I've read is that Morgan Elsbeth tells him about Luke, and that's why he's asking if it was two. So
that's it. Yeah. That's
that mighty Skywalker dynasty. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we already know that Luke and Ahsoka have that, that meeting. So
they're buds. Anti-Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's like she's essentially a Skywalker. He's got to deal with one, like he's not dealing with two, whatever it is, father son, whatever kind of combo. You're just, and the crazy auntie in the mix. You're not coming out of this with that.
Maybe something we see in the future.
Ahsoka.
That's it.
Ahsoka.
I like it. Well, fellas, I think that's gonna about wrap it up for us. But Eric, we have to do our winner for this card. Friday. Do you want to do the big announcement? Because I have the cards.
Yes, I do. So we had quite a few people who actually entered into our contest for the autographed the autographed Thrawn card. And what we did is we took everybody's names, we put it on the big spin wheel and everything like that. So what I'll do is go ahead and show you the screenshot of the winner that we have. And oh god, my light.
And you can't. It says
you can't see. Got it.
And there you go. Asian Sith Mistress. So congratulations on winning the autographed Timothy Zahn Thrawn card. We are going to be getting in touch with you here in a little bit to let you know and kind of get it out to you and everything. But thank you to everybody who did enter the contest with myself and these guys here.
Yay! All right.
Yeah, amazing.
We love that. We love that audience participation. Good stuff.
Yes,
which is great, and going to such a great person. Asian Sith Mistress ASM produces some amazing content. If you guys haven't seen her cosplay and her photos and all that kind of stuff, just go check her out. Go follow her on Instagram. She's amazing. But
I will.
also
Sounds
an
great.
upcoming guest on this show. So we have been talking about her
perfect.
doing an appearance on this show very, very soon.
No, very cool.
So this is going to you, and we hope to have you here.
Sweet
really,
the
really
deal.
soon.
Awesome.
Good deal. Awesome.
That's amazing. I can't wait to message and share the good news. Eric, thank you so much for
That's me.
joining us. This was an absolute blast. Please tell people where they can follow you and find you on the internet.
All right. Well, firstly, let me just say thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that. It's been awesome talking to you guys, going over these 2 amazing episodes, and appreciate letting me kind of like tell my story about me and my Star Wars story, so to say. So, best way to find me is going to be just looking on my link tree. If you look on my Instagram, _Dadalorian _, you can pretty much find all of my socials there. I am on everything. TikTok, Instagram, Threads, you name it. I'm even on Facebook because I'm an old person.
Yeah, same.
So, but yeah, and what I do is I just post up all my content there. So it's really fun stuff, some raffles and everything like that. So please get involved. And if you have ideas, please reach out, let me know.
Cool. Good
Excellent.
deal.
Thank you so much. I hope, and for anyone that didn't catch that, don't worry. The notes or the links are in the show notes. So you can just click there and go straight to his link tree and all that kind of stuff. I'll make sure it's all there. Charlie,
Little old me. Well,
tell people where they can find you.
I'm still diddling around on Twitter /X at the C3. Go ahead and spell it out. Trying to get a little bit more involved with Instagram and with Threads, where I am C3 Carpenter. Spell it out, and you can find me that way. Trying to move away from the dead bird that is soon to be Twitter, or so I hear. But most importantly, and most recently of note, my wife April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey, one of the largest chapters of the International Star Trek fan club in the world. We are based here in West Michigan. We love doing charity work. We just wrapped up the Grand Rapids Comic-Con just this weekend, raising over $1,800 for Make-A-Wish of Michigan, which I do in the name of my late son, Parker. So we were very, very privileged. For anybody hearing the sound of my voice who we saw, who attended our auction, visited our booth, and talked to us, we're very grateful. If you'd like to learn more about being a Trekker in either Michigan or Eastern Canada, which I also is my dominion as regional coordinator of Region 13 of SFI, visit or Google Grand Petoskey or Region 13 and send an email in my direction. I'd be happy to connect you. So that's it for me. And thank you, friends, as always, for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
May the force be with you. Rex, play us out.